Close your eyes. Now, while they're still closed, think about the room behind you. Can you see it? Of course not, but here's the question that will haunt you. Does it exist? Not is it there in some vague philosophical sense, but does it physically exist right now when you're not looking? Your instinct screams yes. The chair, the wall, the window, they're solid, real, waiting patiently for you to turn around. But quantum physics whispers something far stranger. Maybe they're not. Maybe, in the truest sense, the world behind you is suspended in a fog of possibility, neither here nor gone, waiting for your eyes to collapse it into reality. This isn't science fiction. This is the edge of what we know about existence itself. In 1927, physicists shattered certainty. They fired electrons, tiny fundamental particles, at a barrier with two slits. If you weren't watching, the electron behaved like a wave, passing through both slits at once, interacting with itself, creating a pattern only possible if it existed in multiple places simultaneously. But the moment you placed a detector to observe which slit it went through, the wave collapsed. The electron chose one path. It became solid, real, fixed, but only because you looked. Before observation, it wasn't an object. It was a cloud of potential, everywhere and nowhere. And your gaze, not your eyes, but the act of measurement, the physics of interaction, forced it to decide. Now scale that up. You are made of particles. The chair is made of particles. The room behind you, particles. And at the quantum level, every single one of them obeys the same law. Unobserved, they blur into probability. Observed, they snap into place. But you've never seen a chair dissolve into mist when you blink. Tables don't vanish. Walls stay solid. Why? The answer is decoherence, the universe's way of smoothing out quantum strangeness at our scale. When billions of particles tangle together, constantly interacting with air, light, heat, and each other, the quantum fuzziness gets drowned out. The wave function collapses not because you look, but because the environment itself is always looking, always measuring, always forcing reality to stabilize. Except, and this is where it gets eerie, what if it's not fully stable? What if, in the split second before you turn your head, the room behind you is just a little less real? Not gone, but softer, hovering in a state your conscious mind never catches, because by the time your eyes arrive, reality has already snapped back into focus. Pause. Try this. Stare straight ahead at something, anything, a wall, a screen, your hands. Now, without moving your eyes, pay attention to the edges of your vision. That blurry, half-formed zone where shapes lose detail, where your brain fills in gaps with guesses and assumptions. You're not really seeing the periphery. You're imagining it, constructing it from memory and expectation. Now snap your head to the side, fast. Did the world feel like it loaded, like the details rushed in to meet your gaze? You just touched the edge of the observer effect in your own experience. Philosophers have been wrestling with this for centuries. George Berkeley, an 18th century bishop, argued that objects only exist because they're perceived, by us or by God. To be is to be perceived, he said. If a tree falls in a forest and no one hears it, does it make a sound? Berkeley would say, no. No observer, no event. No measurement, no reality. Quantum mechanics didn't prove Berkeley right, but it gave his madness a mathematical backbone. The Copenhagen interpretation, the most famous way of understanding quantum behavior, says that particles don't have definite properties until they're measured. Before that, they exist in superposition, all possible states at once, waiting. But here's the twist that breaks minds. What counts as an observer? Does it have to be conscious, a human, or is a particle of light bouncing off an object enough to observe it and collapse the wave? Most physicists say consciousness has nothing to do with it. Measurement is just interaction. But a stubborn minority asks, if the universe existed for billions of years before life, who was observing it? Who collapsed the wave function of the early cosmos? Some say the universe observed itself. Some say observation isn't the right word. We should call it interaction, stripping out the human ego. But others, philosophers, mystics, and a few rogue physicists, whisper, maybe reality is fundamentally participatory. Maybe the universe doesn't exist out there independently. Maybe it's a dance between observer and observed, and you are not discovering the world, you're completing it. Here's where it gets personal. Every time you look at something, you're not passively receiving information. You're participating in the creation of that moment. The photons hitting your retina, the neural signals racing to your brain, the conscious experience assembling itself from electrical noise. This isn't replay, it's construction. Reality at the quantum level doesn't exist in a fixed form until it's measured. And at the human level, your brain builds the world you experience from fragments, predictions, and sensory guesses. So, when you turn around and see the room still there, you're not proving it existed all along. You're collapsing it back into existence, or at least finalizing the version your mind agrees to call real. The double-slit experiment haunts because it's so simple, so repeatable, and so wrong according to common sense. If no one watches, the electron is a wave. If someone watches, it's a particle. The universe behaves differently depending on whether you're looking. Not because it's shy, because observation is an event, a physical interaction, and quantum systems respond to events. But that means reality is conditional. It means the past might not be as fixed as you think. Because if observation determines outcome, then what you see now could, in some interpretations, reach backward and determine what was. You're not standing in a solid, unchanging world. You're standing at the intersection of possibility and perception. And every glance you cast is a vote for which version of reality gets to be real. Turn your head again, slowly this time. Watch the world assemble itself in your vision. You're not just seeing it, you're invoking it, calling it into focus from the haze of what might be. And the question remains, burning at the edge of thought. When no one is looking, not you, not anyone, not even the faint pressure of air and light, does anything exist at all? Or does the universe wait, patient and formless, for the next observer to arrive and breathe it back into being? Close your eyes again. Imagine a vast cosmic stage where every particle is a player, every photon a messenger. This stage, however, is unlike any theater you know. It is a place where the script isn't written until the actors perform, where the scenery emerges only under the spotlight of observation. This is the world of quantum decoherence, the process that transforms hazy possibilities into the reality you perceive. In the quantum realm, particles exist in superpositions, multiple states simultaneously, like a coin spinning in the air, neither heads nor tails until caught. But decoherence acts as the force of nature's editing room. As particles interact with their environment, the surrounding molecules, photons, and everything else, a fragile quantum state rapidly fragments, collapsing into a single outcome. This is why cats are never both alive and dead in your living room, why tables don't flicker away when you blink. Yet the precise moment and mechanism of this collapse remain mysterious. Is decoherence sufficient explanation, or does consciousness play a hidden role? The Copenhagen interpretation, dominant for nearly a century, declares the act of measurement and interaction with a macroscopic system collapses the wave function, fixing reality. But who or what triggers this collapse? The measuring apparatus? The observer's mind? The universe itself? Philosophers argue endlessly. Bishop Berkeley declared centuries ago that existence hinges on perception. To be is to be perceived. Is reality therefore inextricably linked to minds? Does the world cease to exist when no one observes it? Quantum physics doesn't provide easy answers, instead deepening the mystery. Consider the paradoxical ideas of physicist John Wheeler's participatory universe, where observers do not passively record reality, but actively bring it into being. Reality isn't a monologue, but a conversation, a co-creation with the cosmos. Even the past depends on present observation, suggesting retrocausal twists where your current gaze shapes what was. This opens pathways to ancient philosophies. Eastern traditions like Advaita Vedanta or Mahayana Buddhism stress the illusory nature of the world, Maya, proposing that separations between observer and observed dissolve upon deeper awareness. Modern quantum discoveries resonate with these teachings. What we call objective reality may be a shared hallucination, a consensual dream woven from countless acts of observation. But this isn't mere abstraction. Peripheral vision experiments reveal a softer gray zone of perception, where the brain fills in missing information, guesses, creates seamless reality from fragments. Snap your head and catch that moment when your mind refreshes its view, reconstructing rather than simply recording existence. Your brain itself is a measurement device, collapsing possibilities into perceptions. Consciousness filters the chaos, settling the storm of quantum uncertainty into stable experience. This reveals why reality feels so immediate and solid despite its strange fluid foundation. And herein lies a profound invitation to recognize that your every glance, every act of attention shapes the world at the smallest scales. You are more than a spectator, you are participant and creator, weaving reality one observation at a time. So ask yourself before you look away, what disappears in the darkness of your inattentiveness? What realities await your return gaze to become more than mere potentials? In a universe defined by observation, the question is not just what is real, but who decides what is real, and how often. And as you open your eyes again, remember, reality doesn't just happen to you, it happens with you.